Hello again, I am Blunty, and this is the Hopage HDPVR2, as I discussed in my unboxing a couple of weeks back, which you should watch if you haven't already, as I take a longer look at the basic hardware than I will in this review, which will be more about how it performs. It is a little black box made to connect your game consoles to your computer so you can record your gameplay for demos, or reviews, or commentaries, or playthroughs, or walkthroughs, or guides, or showing off, or just because you damn well feel like it. The clever bit is it's got its own onboard processing and video encoding chip, so it does all the heavy lifting of churning through the video feed instead of your computer. It's also got a lag-free HDMI pass-through, so the video fed back out to your TV looks just like it would if you had your console connected directly to it. And so there's no stutter or delay causing your game to lag or your gameplay experience to suffer or degrade in any way. And I'm happy to report that it works flawlessly. The games play, look and sound precisely how they would if the console was hooked directly to the TV. Hookup is simple, either by direct HDMI or the multi-AV input, which will accept composite or component signals, which means of course your Nintendo Wii will work with it just fine even though it's got no HDMI and only runs in standard definition. But something I ran into with the Wii, a few of the virtual console games did this stupid rolling thing, making them unplayable, let alone recordable. It's likely due to the unusual low resolution and low refresh rate these games run at, so they look like they're supposed to, which is good for accuracy when you're playing, but it seems to trip the HDPVR2 out sideways. It's important to note not all did this, only a few. Most ran and recorded flawlessly, and of course, native Wii games all were 100% fine. You'll also need to use the component output with your PS3 because it has persistent HDCP copper protection on its HDMI output, which is designed to help stop Blu-rays from being copied and the like, but it's there even if you're just playing a game, which is annoying and a bit crappy of Sony, quite frankly. But the component output runs just fine through the HDPVR2 and you'll still get the high-def video gameplay experience. And as a bonus, the HDPVR2 will even convert that component signal it's getting from the PS3 and spit it back out its own HDMI output into your TV. And it's still lag-free, which is pretty nifty and saves you from fumbling around with changing the hookups at the TV end of your setup when you switch between recording from different consoles. To get it into your computer and out to a hard disk, you'll be going in via a USB port, and unfortunately the software that comes with it is Windows only, which is a huge pain in the ass if you got a Mac. You could use Parallels or Boot Camp to get Windows up and running on your Mac to work around it, but personally I'd much prefer a native alternative. The Windows software is much like most other Windows software. It's a clumsy, ugly mess with badly designed interface that needlessly buries crap in drop-down menus and bullet lists and tabs and makes simple tasks more awkward than they ever should be. But it works fine, and it never actually crashed on me, so as long as it gets the job done without imploding, I'll live. You've got full control over your essential video settings, like if you want to adjust the recording resolution or frame rates, or just match them directly to whatever's being fed in. You can fiddle with the bit rates and sampling so you can get super crispy quality, or compromise on that to keep the files smaller. There's also a basic video editor, and it is very basic, and I'd never ever use it myself, quite frankly. It's just but it is there for noobs to get a basic video glued together and uploaded nice and easily within the program. The live feed displayed on the PC in the capture software has a significant lag of at least several seconds, so you won't be using this as a way to skip using a TV to play your console games directly on your PC instead. And this is due to the HDPVR2 processing and re-encoding the signal before it sends it to the PC recording. It causes that lag. It takes time to do the churning. And one of the most frequently asked questions I got on my unboxing video, apart from lazy twits who instead of spending 3 lousy seconds typing it into Google kept asking for the price, was if it could be used to record the PC's own screen, so they could record their PC gameplay and the like without having to sacrifice system resources and take the performance hit of using a software screen recorder like Fraps. And the answer is yes, as long as your PC has a HDMI output, of course. You can certainly feed that into the HDPVR and then back into the USB. And yes indeed, because the HDPVR2 does all the heavy lifting of the video, the CPU and memory and GPU hit to your system is almost negligible. And if you're going to do this, I'd also suggest setting your destination disk for the saved recordings as a different hard drive than where you're running the game from, because obviously the recording disk will be getting a constant stream of data hammering it while you record. record, which if it's on the same disk as what your game is running from, could affect the performance. And of course, any unprotected HDMI output can be a valid input, which means any handheld system with a video out, or smartphone, or indeed tablets can be used. The only real requirement is a way to get video out via HDMI, or convert it to HDMI or component. And I've tested this with the iPhone and the iPad. It worked brilliantly. I've also tested it successfully with a direct HDMI output from still and video cameras without issue, which could be useful. As long as you set the video bitrate high enough, the recording will look every bit as crispy as it does live on your TV. But, of course, the higher your bitrate, frame rate and resolution settings are, the larger the files are you'll be dealing with. Duh. So please, don't be a silly noob and ask me how big are the files it makes, because it will vary wildly depending on what your settings are. There is also a way to set things up so you can use the HDPVR for live web streaming of your gaming, but it is not something supported natively by the software that comes with, so I won't cover it here in detail. But if you want to do this, you can have a Google. You'll find tutorials to find a kind of kludgy workaround that does apparently get the job done, going through like 3 or 4 different bits of software. It's not exactly elegant, but as long as it works. I did run into a problem with corrupted video files a few times, but I traced this issue back to it happening in recordings where I'd included the game startup from the menu systems. It seems the resolution switching that takes place as the game boots can screw up the file, so hot tip, don't start recording your gameplay until you're fully into the game. And very occasionally the frame rate on the recording would drop and stay dropped, so everything looked chunky and unusable, while the output on the TV looked absolutely smooth and fine. I never actually nailed down exactly why this was happening. I couldn't quite figure it out. The HDPVR2 wasn't overheating, and my PC's system resources were plentiful. It was quite a rare occurrence though in my testing, so with luck it's just a small glitch that can be patched out in a firmware update. Aside from those 2 issues, one easily avoided and one unknown but kind of rare, it worked first time, every time without issue. And as long as you've got plenty of disk space to spool it onto, recording long play sessions shouldn't be an issue either. I recorded over an hour of play at a time from both the Wii in standard def and the Xbox 360 in high def without any issues or problems whatsoever. Gameplay remained smooth and lag-free as promised on the box, and the files were detailed and smoothly recorded at either 25, 30 or 60 frames per second, depending on what the console was outputting. And audio was just as crisp and clear, and because it gets the same feed as your TV, anything you hear on your TV will be in your recording too. Of course, that means stuff like the voices of your other fellow players if you're online with voice chat and stuff. Over the last few years I've tried several gameplay recording solutions, everything from MacGyvered chains of video converters and recorders to off-the-shelf units designed to do exactly this, and nothing I've ever tried has worked as well or as painlessly as the HDPVR2. There's a good reason its predecessor was the most popular way to record gameplay, and this new version is even better thanks to its new HDMI chops. It's an easy recommendation for me, and while this unit was a borrowed review tester, I'll certainly be adding one to my own arsenal. It just gets the job done. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I'll catch you next time.
Nicely done.